Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we are digging deep into a topic that is literally the foundation of all life on land, soil, but we're not just talking about dirt. We're going to explore how soil acts as a massive living pantry, providing all the essential mineral nutrients that plants need to thrive. Think of it this way, just like we need vitamins and minerals from our food, plants need them from the soil for everything from growing tall to producing the fruits and vegetables we eat. So, what's on the menu for today? First, we'll break down what mineral nutrients actually are and why plants can't live without them. Then, we'll journey into the soil itself, exploring its complex structure and how it holds and supplies these vital elements. We'll uncover how factors like soil texture, pH, and even tiny microbes play a huge role in a plant's ability to get a decent meal. Finally, we'll look at the clever ways roots absorb these nutrients. By the end of this video, you'll see soil not as just brown stuff, but as a dynamic, living ecosystem. Let's get started. First things first, what exactly are mineral nutrients? In simple terms, they are inorganic elements that plants absorb from the soil, usually as ions dissolved in water. These aren't just optional extras. They're absolutely essential. Without them, a plant can't complete its life cycle. We can split them into two main groups based on how much the plant needs. The first group is the macronutrients. As the name suggests, plants need these in relatively large quantities. The big six are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Nitrogen is crucial for making proteins and DNA. Phosphorus is the energy currency of the cell, and potassium helps regulate water and open and close stomata. The second group is the micronutrients. Plants need these in much smaller, almost trace amounts, but they are just as critical. This list includes iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, and a few others. For example, iron is vital for creating chlorophyll, the green pigment that captures sunlight. Even though it's needed in tiny amounts, a lack of iron will cause a plant's leaves to turn yellow. Now, a key point from plant physiology experts is that plants can't just grab these elements in their solid form. The nutrients must be dissolved in the water present in the soil, which we call the soil solution. It's only in this liquid form, as ions like nitrate, potassium, or phosphate, that the plant's roots can actually absorb them. So let's talk about the source, the soil itself. It's so much more than just dirt. From a plant's perspective, soil is a complex and dynamic living system. It's made up of several key components that all work together. First, you have mineral particles. These are tiny bits of weathered rock and they come in three sizes: sand, which is the largest, silt, which is medium size, and clay, which is the smallest. These particles provide the physical structure of the soil and, importantly, a massive surface area where nutrients can hang out. Clay particles in particular are superstars because they have a negative electrical charge, which allows them to hold on to positively charged nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and potassium. Next up is organic matter. This is the good stuff, the decomposing remains of plants, animals, and microbes, which eventually becomes a dark, rich material called humus. Humus is amazing. It acts like a sponge, helping the soil hold on to water. It improves soil structure, making it less compacted, and it's a fantastic nutrient reservoir. Just like clay, humus also has negative charges, which boosts the soil's ability to store nutrients. Then we have the soil solution. This is the thin film of water that coats all the soil particles. This solution is where the magic happens. It contains all the dissolved nutrients that are immediately available for the roots to slurp up. It's the nutrient-rich soup that plants drink from. Let's not forget soil air. The spaces between soil particles are filled with either water or air. Plant roots, just like us, need to breathe. They require oxygen for respiration to produce the energy needed to actively pull in nutrients. So, a well-aerated soil is a healthy soil. Finally, and this is a big one, we have soil microorganisms. The soil is teeming with life. We're talking billions of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes in a single handful of healthy soil. These tiny organisms are the soil's chemists. They break down organic matter, releasing nutrients in a process called mineralization. Some bacteria can pull nitrogen right out of the air and fix it into a form plants can use. And then there are mycorrhizal fungi, which form a symbiotic partnership with plant roots, extending their reach and dramatically helping them absorb nutrients like phosphorus. Now that we know what soil is made of, let's look at the specific properties that control whether a plant gets the nutrition it needs. First is soil texture. This refers to the proportion of sand, silt, and clay in the soil. A soil with a lot of clay will be heavy and dense but can hold on to a lot of nutrients and water. On the other A sandy soil is light and drains quickly, which means it often struggles to retain water and nutrients. The ideal is usually a loam, which is a balanced mix of all three, giving you the best of both worlds. Next is something called the cation exchange capacity, or CEC. It sounds complicated, but it's just a measure of the soil's ability to hold on to positively charged nutrients, or cations. Remember how clay and humus have negative charges? These negative sites on their surfaces act like magnets for positive ions like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. They hold on to them, preventing them from being washed away by rain, but they don't lock them up forever. A plant can then release a hydrogen ion from its root to swap for a nutrient it needs. A soil with a high CEC is like a well-stocked pantry that keeps nutrients safe until the plant is ready for them. Perhaps the single most important factor is soil pH. This measures how acidic or alkaline the soil is. Most plants prefer a soil pH that's slightly acidic, somewhere between 6 and 7. Why is this so important? Because pH directly affects how soluble nutrients are. If the soil is too acidic, essential nutrients like phosphorus can get locked up, while toxic metals like aluminum can become too available, poisoning the plant. If the soil is too alkaline, nutrients like iron and manganese become insoluble and unavailable, even if they're physically present in the soil. Getting the pH right is like having the key to unlock the entire nutrient pantry. Of course, soil water is also critical. Water does two things: it dissolves the nutrients to create the soil solution, and it physically moves those nutrients toward the roots. During a drought, nutrient uptake can grind to a halt, not just because there's no water for the plant to drink, but because the nutrient delivery system has shut down. Finally, there's a property called redox potential, which is especially important in flooded or waterlogged soils. When soil is saturated with water, there's very little oxygen. This changes the chemistry. For example, iron, which is usually in an insoluble form, can become highly soluble and available, sometimes to toxic levels. This is a great example of how soil conditions can dramatically alter nutrient availability. So the nutrients are in the soil, they're available, but how does the plant actually get them inside its roots? There are three main ways this happens. The first is called bulk flow or mass flow. As a plant loses water through its leaves via transpiration, it creates a suction effect that pulls water up from the soil. As this water flows towards and into the roots, it carries dissolved nutrients along with it, kind of like a conveyor belt. This is the primary way that plants get nutrients they need in large amounts, like calcium and magnesium. The second mechanism is diffusion. This happens when there is a higher concentration of a nutrient ion in the soil solution and a lower concentration inside the root. The ions naturally move from the area of high concentration to the area of low concentration to balance things out. This is a slower, more localized process, but it's very important for nutrients that aren't as mobile in the soil, like phosphorus and potassium. The third method is root interception. This one is simple. The root just grows and physically bumps into the nutrients. As roots and their tiny root hairs explore new soil volume, they make direct contact with soil particles and the nutrient ions held on their surfaces. This is why having a large and healthy root system is so vital for a plant's overall nutrition. So let's quickly recap. Soil is a complex, living system that provides plants with essential mineral nutrients. These nutrients are absorbed from the soil solution, the water found between soil particles. The availability of these nutrients is controlled by key soil properties like its texture, its capacity to hold nutrients, its pH level, and its water content. Finally, plants use a combination of mass flow, diffusion, and direct interception by their roots to absorb these life-giving elements. Understanding this intricate dance between the plant and the soil gives you a whole new appreciation for that ground beneath your feet. It's not just holding the plant up, it's actively feeding and sustaining it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has given you a clearer picture of how soil works its magic. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the world of plant science. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. See you in the next video.